Hi, I'm struggling. I am a struggling artist. Growing up, drawing was my favorite thing to do. That was my main go to for how I would spend my time, especially when I was like really little. I would draw a lot. I got a lot of praise for my artwork, from my family, from classmates, from teachers. I never felt like I was the best. I didn't think I was bad. At no point I ever thought I was bad at drawing, but I would see other people who had a little bit more skill than I did, and us being the same age, I never really used to bother me necessarily. I wasn't one to compare myself with others. I was just able to acknowledge, like, oh, they can draw too, and they draw really well. And that was kind of it. I knew that I always knew, I could improve. I never thought bad about the rate of my progress. And really, I can go through my old sketchbooks and pinpoint like eras. Like this is when this was like the start of my anime era. When I really started getting into anime and started trying to like emulate the style. This was like my era where I was trying to emulate the style of this manga or this anime or just a lot of trying to, draw what I see to the best of my ability, which is how you learn. But I would always draw the same thing. I would draw fairies. Would rarely draw guys because I just found guys hard to draw. I would draw Pokemon a lot, especially when I was really little. But I was never an adventurous kid with anything, really. I was always the type to just stay in my bubble. And that was true when it came to art. I remember I did have interest in, I would have interest in kind of exploring, but just not the drive. I was very much that kid that would try something, and if I just didn't get it, I would not continue to try. My relationship with digital art is I wish I could do it. I had opportunities to attempt to learn to do it. My parents did buy me a drawing tablet. And I did attempt, and by attempt, I touched it maybe once and then never touched it again because I just didn't like how it felt. I would only really draw, I would only ever draw semi-realistically when it came to school projects. And I did well. I have to find, because I'm pretty sure I still have one of my projects where I had to draw myself, which I will not be sharing because I don't want to show my face because I look the same compared to when I drew that and when, and now I basically look the same. But I know from memory that was a good drawing that I did. Like, whenever I was put to the task of drawing realistically, I could do it well. Didn't really used to draw animals. Drawing Pokemon all the time didn't necessarily translate into any confidence in drawing animals. I would just draw women and the occasional muscular man. And once I was getting like further into high school, I the longer high school went on, the more self-conscious I became about my art and my artistic capability. I was starting to really feel like I did not have the work ethic to do the things that I wanted to do. I didn't have the work ethic, I didn't have the skill, I didn't have the discipline, and I definitely did not have the speed. There were people around me who were really talented, and what used to be me just being able to acknowledge that we were in different ballparks turned into me being self-conscious about how my art looked and where I was at. A dream that I had ever since I was little was to one day go to Japan and make my own anime. And once I was 18, I was very well aware that I was not in anywhere near the space where I could do that. And there was a lot going on when I was 18, mentally, in my social space. I was just not doing okay, so there was a lot more than just how I felt about my art that would have been keeping me from pursuing that dream in the first place. So it's not entirely because of how I felt about my art, it was just how I felt about myself as a person. But I'm not gonna sit here and act like that didn't set me back, because once I got out of high school, I really struggled to maintain a healthy relationship with my art. At that point, I was struggling to feel good about anything that I did, and I had this idea in my head that if I wasn't drawing with the intent of working towards something, with the intent of going forward, then I was failing, and I wasn't doing enough. I wasn't enough. And I think just having that mindset in itself, because I have always been a very you can't fail if you don't try type of person. I have always been like that, especially the older I got and the more cautious I got. I was very much afraid of always taking like that next step. And that affected my art at the end of the day. It affected how I saw my art. It affected how I worked on my art. It affected being able to even focus on my art. And it affected how often I did it. On top of just being an adult, having to work in itself is already really draining. And when your brain is used to constantly being in a state of like, just like, I guess, relaxing or just like peace when doing a certain thing, it's hard to tell yourself like, hey, when you get a chance, just do it when you don't feel like it. Like, I would long stretches of time where I just wouldn't feel like drawing. I would have ideas. I'm never short on ideas. I am in my head 24/7. I am a Pisces. I am not low on ideas at all. But I just couldn't focus. I couldn't focus. I would get scared to even touch the paper. I would struggle when I would finally touch the paper to be happy with anything I was putting on the paper. And every time I would back off from drawing, like every time I would give up, that was actually setting me back. And now we're here. I'm further into my adulthood, I have more responsibilities, more time that I have to just manage to be able to even get a chance to sit down and do art in a space where I can only focus on the art. And I'm struggling to feel confidence in anything that I do. And I'm trying really hard not to get discouraged from it because I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do art. I want to get back into doing art. There are paintings and drawings and stories and just so much that I've always wanted to do. I have a literal list that took me no time at all to make because it's all stuff I've been saying for years I want to do. And I can't do it if I keep backing away from the reality that I am not where I am at in my mind. Where I'm at in my mind is technically, on a technical level, a lot further than what I am able to produce on paper. And I feel like a huge part of that, besides the fact that I haven't been consistently drawing in like 5 years, literally, is another part of that is just a mental block. I feel like I don't have time, so I feel like every time I do get to sit down and draw, I should be rushing. And I was never a fast drawer at all. I was always one to take my time. I was always one to take my time. I was always one to just take it slow. I'm really detail oriented. And I just was like I said before, I've never had super good technique. I just kind of went in and things would just turn out okay. So I'm in a stage right now where I feel like I have to retrain myself to draw. And I don't want that to discourage me. I want that to encourage me because I would like to get back to where I felt like I was at. Or I would like to just get to where I felt like I was at, period. Because where I not felt like I was at, I would like to get to where I've always felt I was in my mind. Because where I felt I was in my mind was not the same as where I was at, and it never was. And the only way to get there is by not running away from the paper anymore. By not running away from the sketchbooks, not running away from the pencils, not running away from the chaos that is my brain going at 90 miles an hour in a school lane. I cannot get to where I want to be at artistically, constantly being afraid of failing. And I can't get to all these ambitious craft ideas and sculpting ideas and painting ideas without wanting to see myself, truly wanting to see myself progress. I do have a fear of taking that next step. Can't tell you where it comes from. Well, I guess it comes from comfort. It's the only thing that makes sense, it coming from comfort. But that comfort is restricting me. And I know what I want. I want to be a bigger person than what I'm allowing myself to be. I want to be a bigger presence And I want to be able to achieve these things that I see as being so big, but I can't achieve them if I keep myself so small. So, why did I make this channel? Why did I make this channel? And I don't feel like I can draw. Because I wanted to. Me making this channel has been a thought in my mind for years now. And I'm just finally buckling down and saying, I'm gonna do this in conjunction with me wanting to fix my relationship with my art. Which could be, some would say, would be counterproductive, because there's a lot of stress that comes with having a YouTube channel. There's a lot of expectations that comes with just sharing your artwork online. There's a lot of pressure that comes, because obviously I don't want my channel to stay small, but I don't necessarily see it getting bigger with the way my art has been looking. But if I don't start, the longer I don't start, the longer it will take for me to get to where I want to be. So, even though we don't feel like we're at a point to where we can put out what we want to put out, we're doing it anyway. And I just wanted to get it off my chest. I've been really struggling. I have just been struggling with a lot. Mentally, life, the world is burning outside. And in the lead up to me deciding to sit down and do this voiceover, I have been really, really hard on myself when things don't turn out. And I'm still trying to work on this time management thing, because I have a full-time job and a second part-time job, and I have chibis. I don't know what to call them yet. Originally I was going to say chicks, but that don't sound right. I have pixies. I have little ones. As you can imagine, they take up a lot of time. So you know. I have a lot of things that keeps me from being able to sit down in a consistent spot and work on my stuff. I've been considering just carrying around my it's not a tripod. I'll call it a tripod for ease. Oh, well, I mean, it's a ring light. It's a ring light that has like a phone holder on it. I've been considering just carrying that around and just sitting wherever and dealing with the logistics of it when I'm there, and just recording myself draw that way, because trying to confine myself to just working at my desk is not working out. It can work out, it's just not. Like when I made my Poppy short of me coloring Poppy, and I was sitting at Kaney's desk. That was not my desk. I do like Persona 3 though. For anyone who noticed that matte, I also like Persona 3. But I'm really still struggling to figure out the best way to make this work. I have a lot of ideas, and I have ambition to make like certain deadlines so that I'm posting consistently. But it's hard to post consistently when you don't have time to even do the content, and then you have to edit, and then you have to make a thumbnail. So I'm trying to figure all that out. I just wanted to share, because I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who, you know, we all have hobbies, we all have passions, we all have talents, we all have stuff that we would like to do. But there's always something in the way. It doesn't matter who you are, there's always something in the way. Doesn't matter what you're trying to do, doesn't matter what you want to do, something will get in your way. And I am actively in the midst of trying to push myself harder than I typically would to achieve something that I will convince myself time and time again is out of reach. I don't want it to be out of reach anymore. I'm tired of feeling small. I want to be big. So this is my Thumbelina idea. I've been having like this slight, I've been having this want to do like a Thumbelina adaptation type thing, and instead of like all the characters she runs into being animals, they're fairies. I didn't get to draw any of the other characters, but because I was spending so much time just feeling this out, I like the idea of her being, of the cast being more like diverse. And I'll share more if you're all interested. But yeah, that's what I got done. Let me know how you felt about your visit by hitting the like button and leaving a comment. Subscribe if you would like to continue to receive invitations to the Hollow, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.